Good evening, everyone. This is Fandango speaking. We are here at the Temple of Speed in Monza, Italy, coming up to 100 years since it was first opened. And this is for the Cone Racing League's Tier 1. And alongside me, as usual, or happily back alongside me, actually, after last week, so happily back alongside me, we have the man himself, Indigo. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, better now, mate. I'm better. I'm glad I was able to make Thursday today because some connection issues. So hopefully everything is sorted and hopefully we can have a good race. I know it was at the Brazilian Grand Prix last week, but I didn't get to quite watch the full race because I had to make sure I didn't watch anything for too long because of my injury.
Yeah, understood. Understood. Well, I'm glad you're back in anyway, and you're good to go again for tonight. Yeah, well, last week I'll sort of bring it to speed. Brazil, Wouter went and won it. Rudy in second. Pease in third place. Third place. AJ in fourth. Isaac Kush came in fifth, and Jeroen was sixth. There was a few incidents that I believe the stewards have had to look at after last week, although there was some brilliant driving, and the championship currently looks like Wouter in first place with 90 points. Rudy in second place with 66. Pease is in third with 60 points. Nathan has 34. AJ is in fifth with 28. Jeroen 26th. Isaac Kush in seventh position with 20 points. And all the rest of the drivers are 19 or less. That's how the current look of it is. Yeah, I was reading up somewhere before about Monza being is it 99 years old when it was first opened in 1922. So we're coming up to 100 years of the track. Is that right? You might know that a bit more than me.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's like tracks are like Spa, Monaco, and other places as well. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was first introduced officially on the F1 Championship back in 1950, the first Formula 1 Championship, along with Spa, Monza, this track, the British GP, and Monaco. So yeah, it's been around a long time. Obviously, it's had different layouts as used to have. As you call it, the Temple of Speed going round and round, but obviously we had to change it because of safety.
So Rezify back on the grid tonight. Obviously, he's been missing. Is it a couple? He might have missed a couple, Rezify, actually. But I don't think he was here last week. So he's on his out lap going around at the moment. We'll jump on board with him. Give me a second. I'll get our cameras right and get you some information. Obviously, all the drivers running on softs this evening, and every qualifying. Obviously, last week we had the one-shot qualifying followed by the sprint race before we had the main race, and tonight is the short qualifying of 18 minutes, and then we'll have the full race, which will be about 45. Nacho's channel, Forza Cone. Good evening, Nacho. I can see some of the comments coming through actually on the screen, but yeah, to everyone, my phone died today, and unfortunately. It's not taking charge. There's a bit of an issue with my phone, so slight devastation.
That's unfortunate. But do you want me to take you through a lap with Rezify then, as he makes his way around Parabolica?
Yeah, go for it. It's over to you. Rezify, start you off.
He's a decent exit out of this corner, you can see there. Getting a good exit, making his way on the long home straight, taking it wider angle than he would as we open the DRS then, approaching about 342 kilometers an hour. 212 miles an hour, looking for that braking point, braking at the 100 meter board, down through the gears, third into the first apex, second apex as well. You don't want to take too much curb, otherwise it'll set at the rear. Short shifting to minimise the wheel spin on the exit, which is very important to get a good run up now, coming through this flat out right hander here. And now we're making our way into the Della Roger chicane, braking around the 100 meter board. There you want to be taking a lot of curb on the entry, a bit hesitant. Oh, we can see the back end of the car just stepping out, but still makes the exit, and you can see they're coming into the first Lesbo there, turning, carrying a bit of speed, play with the throttle a little bit, use all the exit curb on the exit first. Lesbo, second Lesbo, using all the exit curb again. I want to be carrying a bit more speed than that, but probably not confident due to this track being green, not rubbing in, and it is first lap, so far plenty of more time as we'll make our way into the sky, taking a lot of curb on the entry, carrying a lot of speed through here. Don't touch that inside curve too much, otherwise you'll spin. And we've got a Ferrari Alfa Romeo who is slow. I think that's Superbug because he was out there earlier, so it is Superbug, so he must have made a mistake coming out as Rudy sets the 19.2, coming into Parabolica, breaking the 50 meter ball, gets close to the apex you can, then bring it out wide to get a good run coming out the final corner as we'll make our way towards the line. Let's see what lap time Rezify can set. Can he get anywhere, Rudy? Nope, it's a 19.8, so that's a good lap time for Rudy there with a 19 and reservoir them plenty of time to improve, especially in the second chicane where a bit hesitant and I lost the rear end.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Superb insight into the actual lap turn for turn there. Always appreciated for people that might not be so familiar with the track as you. So fantastic. Just on board with Nathan. He is full rein in the race. I heard Steinman has had a shout in the channel, so that'll be interesting if it's full rein here at Monza, because there's some tricky corners with a lot of cars around you as it is. Nathan just struggling a little bit there through the chicane, so I'm not sure whether it'll be too fast this lap, but we'll see. Your run going with a 119.5 around the second Lesmo. Does Nathan go? Then he goes past, it's actually not a turn this, but it is still called a curve. So Curve a Seraglio is after the Lesmos and before Ascari turns 8, 9 and 10, but not actually classed as a corner. It's just a sharp left-hand bend, let's say, in the road, but it's still classed as a straight. Coming towards Parabolica now for Nathan. How's his first lap, recorded lap, going to be? Not good enough to complete it. Yeah, he's going to complete it. Ooh. And puts himself P5 with a 120 near enough dead on. Not too bad a time for the first lap out, but plenty of time for him to get round and set more. But I guess he just wanted to get a lap on the map. A few of them looking for that.
And Superbug has just entered the pit lane, so his second run, he would not be able to complete that, unfortunately for him. So his first run altogether has been compromised. So we'll get a chance later. We've got Pease out there on our lap time. We've got Ferg making his way towards the line to start our lap. So plenty of people have a set of lap time. As you expect, some people not a representative lap time. I dare say Dual was one of them. P is a 26.4 in the first sector. The Sarah takes the chicane very nicely there, doesn't onset out the rear. And I've seen loads of drivers that have been on board with him that make quite a few mistakes going into that second chicane. It is very difficult. You've got to take a right amount of curb. If you don't, then you lose the back end or end up in the gravel. But P's there, absolutely committed, carrying the speed. The rear end doesn't seem to be stepping out. Bearing in mind, though, we might be getting a bit more downforce due to the rain hitting the circuit in the race. And now P's there making his way through Ascari. I went a bit off the line through there, but still makes his way through very nice and cleanly. Could have had a bit more time, but maybe a bit hesitant going into that one. But now we're coming into Parabolica then, breaking the 50-meter board, turn in, use the brake, dab on the brakes there to turn the car in, and now let's see what Pease can set. How good of a lap time this is. Looks like it was a good lap time for Pease. Oh, it's at 20.0, so I thought that was a good lap time, but still unbeatable towards Rudy. So Rudy's lap time was mega. I'd love to see the onboard of that one.
Oh, nice. That looked like there was a little bit of a tow for Ferg there coming up to Parabolica, also carrying him around this first lap. Looks like it could be a decent lap. It was all right up to that point. I was just on board with him while you were following Pease around his, and Ferg puts himself just above Pease with a 119.9, so the top 7 all in the 119s. Looking for a little bit more from the drivers further down. If we jump on board with Valtra, our current race and championship leader, Nacho with a call for Jacob to take this today. AJ currently sat in P3. Has he cut the corner? Yeah, he did. That's invalidation for Valter, and he'll going to pull the car around into the pits and leave it there. Supermug slowed down, I presume, to let someone past, has he? Or was that just a bit of a mistake on the outlap? But he is on his outlap. He is yet to set a time as well. Bumpier is currently on a fast... No, he isn't. What is happening there? It says he was in the pits. Now he's out the... Oh, so he's just come on the outlap as well. And a few of the ones that have already got runs in are also having outlap. So give us a call if you know. Give us a shout, sorry, if you know who to follow here, Indigo.
Yeah, people in the outlaps, people in their in laps. I don't know who actually is on a flying lap. Is De Griff one of them in the Red Bull? Is he in a push lap? I'm not quite sure. No, he's not. He's running out of fuel. And he has to head back in the pit lane. And he's made a mistake doing Sky anyway. So his lap time is ruined. Wilder, like you said, has a balance. He's still going for a second run.
Is he? I was a bit confused with that because he's got no ERS left at all. I mean, he's took a purple first sector Valter, but why did he not come in? He must have bled his ERS quite significantly on the outlap. But we'll see whether or not that's just a glitch in what I'm seeing. But looks like he's only got 6, 5, and lessening percent of his ERS left. So whether or not he'll get him to the end and stay fast enough by the end, who knows? I'm tempted to stay on board with him for a second. Just test that theory. And he's invalidated going into Ascari, so
in the same
it didn't much matter. Yeah, absolutely. not great for him so far. I'm going to jump on board with the Super Mug, back from some leave last week. I think, is he another one? Is he Resify and Super Mug? I seem to believe have missed one or two each. But let me have a little look to last week and see if he was here. I've got it on the last page. Where's Super Mug? Yeah, he was not here, as wasn't Resify last week. So yeah, they're both back. Robbie and Rotation were also absent last week. Unfortunately, no Robbie again, but Resify joins his partner DeWill in the Aston Martins tonight, and Supermug just coming through Ascari. I'm down towards Parabolic, and we'll see how he does in qualifying. Half the qualifying now gone, more than half gone. 18 minutes is the short qualifying, and Rudy sets the fastest lap with a 119.1, representing AlphaTauri and having a fantastic season, currently sat in the second place in the championship. So yeah, he'll be happy enough with the top. Supermug puts himself P3. Very, very good. Topher, welcome to the chat again, as usual. Yeah, I've been at the last few races and it's been a pleasure having you been in the chat, so thank you. He was my sort of co-comms, was Topher, last week. Indigo, he sort of helped out with some of the sort of facts that I wasn't too sure about. He'd gone in the chat and helped us out, so yeah, respect for that.
And Javoon on pole position with a 90.1 then. So I was about to say Rudy had a massive margin over his rivals, but Javoon was able to reduce that deficit and put himself on pole. I was on board with Nathan, and sadly he's just invalidated through, I don't actually know what corner that was. It must have been the second Lesbo, or maybe the first, but unfortunately he was on course for a good lap time. He finally sorted his first sector out, as you can see the last time round. As I mentioned, that he made a mistake in the first sector, but unfortunately it's all come undone on that validation he's endured again on that lap. But yeah, good lap time left for Giroud.
Also, while you were chatting there, IRT Bumfier put it in a 120.1. Also, Panda put in a lap to go into P11 with a 120, near enough dead on, just 76 thousandths above 20. Obviously, that was very unbelievably close between myself and Peas. I'm on board with Seb at the moment, also in the AlphaTauri. The 12 AlphaTauris have together made a pretty good team, as have the Ferraris, but obviously without us still to put a time down on this track, obviously pushing that a little bit too hard, or he might have gone with a very, very quick setup, or not so much if we're hearing that there's going to be rain in the race. That's going to be the big game changer. A few of these drivers will be going with a setup that they might not have been practicing with necessarily, and just had that wet setup just sat at the side for a rainy day, literally. And we see Seb lose it round Parabolica, just coming round to set a time, and so he'll probably pull straight into the pits, and does. So he's not going to go any faster than that at the moment. We'll just jump on two down with Peas coming through the first chicane.
It's unfortunate there for Steve Game. I don't know if he was up in that middle set. I was on ball with him, but he didn't get the best run out of Ascari either. So unfortunately, that last corner just cost him quite a bit. Relentless Knight has also invalidated through the middle set. He was a 100 down in that middle set to P6 for Knight as well. So that's a good performance from him as he heads his way back into the pit lane then. And 5 minutes 50 seconds left to go on the clock. I can see P's out there on a flying lap.
Yeah, just on board with Peas at the moment, actually. He might even get the slightest little pull from T-Griff that's in front of him, just along the road there. Probably not, actually, just a little bit too much distance between them, but we'll see how he gets on with his final corner. Peas also setting another time squeeze in the inside wall on his exit. Once he's happy that he's got the traction, save him a bit of time, straightest route, and Peas won't go any faster. T-Griff won't go any faster. I don't think, was he 11th T-Griff a second ago? He was certainly following on track, but the pair of them won't go any faster on those last runs. DeWill just coming around the final corner as well, and I think this is his hot lap. Yes, it certainly is his hot lap. Will he go faster? DeWill? No, unfortunately not. So he stays P15 at the moment. Now, Wouter, our current championship leader, 90 points has Wouter. Won Brazil last week. Has 2 wins and a second place under his belt already for 90 points. Flying so far this season. Yet to set a lap with 4 minutes 53 to go. He has to really hope that this lands as well, because it's going to be a very fast in lap to have any chance of setting another after this. So no pressure to the championship leader, but we follow him just heading towards Ascari. Take that. Oh, he's done it again. He's done it again. Wouter has gone and I think that's maybe 2 or 3 times through Ascari, taking the initial left-hander far too close, taking too much curb, the wheel going across, and as we hear the yelp from Indigo in the background, just to indicate the amazement really of him gone and doing the exact same thing again. That means he's going to be using a 4th tyre, which a lot of the drivers don't particularly want to do, although you wouldn't think that the soft would be used in a proper strategy around here due to the distance of the race. But if you saw Tier 3 the other night, That did. I think there was a safety car came out and it was just coming round like 8 laps to go. So by the time it came in, it was a 6-lap sprint on the softs to the end. So you may need them later on in the race.
Yeah, exactly. The strategy without a safety car is usually hards to mediums, as you can go about 30-40 laps of the hards and complete the rest of the medium compound tyres. But Pyro, the man who's got a lap time along with Walter, our championship leader, is on the back foot here. Hopefully he can get a lap time in that 3rd consecutive lap, just to validate in the same place. And Rudy, however, is on a lap time. He's 500s up in that first sector. Probably off-board shot I had going into the second chicane. I'm not quite sure if he made a mistake, but it looks like he was able to continue and not make his way through the second leg, but using all the exit curb as much as he could get away with it. As Nathan makes his way. Nathan, I can see him on your screen.
He's just passed. Yeah, he has just passed the line. He's got a 1:19.5. Very good lap by Nathan to put himself P3 with a 1:19.5. Who else was it on track? Sorry, let me just flick around.
Keep an eye on Rudy. He was 1/10 up, 1.5 tenths up in the middle sector, so he's going to take that pole position. If he can keep it nice and tidy in this final corner, then all his good work then can't come undone from this final corner. He gets a good exit using all the exit road as he can. Short way to the line. It's going to be a 18, I think. Yes,
oh, wow.
18.9.
Wow.
He's on pole.
Wow, that's unbelievably fast from Rudy. Fastest lap with an 18.9. The only driver on track to do it. That's pretty phenomenal, to be honest. Super Mug is going to be pulling round into the pits, so that looks like he's going to be finishing. I don't know whether he'll get back out and get round in time to settle that, but that's obviously his one done. Just on board with Knight. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. If we just flick down to whoever that is, it was Panda. So I think he got into bother there in Sector 3. It might have been through Ascari, but is he going to pull back in, or was that his outlap? It was his outlap, so he's not going to be bothered, sorry. He was maybe just warming the tyres up on the final straight and giving them a bit of a spin, which the game recognised as a fault. Where we're looking, is Nathan coming for a second lap, or is he just coming at the pits?
He's run out of fuel, he's in the pit lane, so that's right. Nathan's qualifying done and dusted. However, his brother out there in P5 on an outlap, so I wonder if AJ is able to climb up the order. But our championship leader down in P17, last chance for him. Can he get himself? Can he? that entry towards Ascari? It's such a difficult corner. You want to use a lot of curve on the entry, but obviously for Wilder's case, using too much there. I've been through it myself. I think many drivers experience using too much curve through there. It's just so. It may seem easy, but it's quite difficult to get it right. But can Wilder finally get it right this time and get the entry he wants and exit he wants coming out of Ascari? One last chance to do it. And Pyro's in the pit lane, so I don't think he'll be coming out for a run. He was having connection issues and kept leaving and rejoining, so he'll be starting down in P17 if Wilder does get a lap time. If Rudy's retired, knowing who's got any more tyres left and who's out there on their last final lap.
Well, I'm just on board with Panda at the moment. He's in P13, coming around the final corner. This is going to be effectively his final throw of the dice. Can he get in the... can he better his time, first and foremost, with a 1:20, because there's about 3 positions he's going to skip if he can, and he does, with a 1:19.9, and jumps himself into P10, jumping Evans, Pease, and T. Griff, who is also out on the fast lap at the moment. He's behind quite a few little bits of a training there. Bumpier also out. Is Bumpier pushing there? No, he's swinging from side to side. So he's... Oh, and he's also, all right, interesting. So Bumpier's had an extra outlap with the time in the session still to go to get his tyres fully warm before he goes out there and has a go at it. So, interesting.
Oh, AJ's backed out, but it was a bit sloppy heading down to turn 1. I think he burnt a little bit too late at the rear end of the car, kept sliding, so just braking too hard, and that's his qualified done and dusted. He'll be starting P5 downwards. There's Superbugs on an outlap. He can't be. It's not enough time. No. 1 second left. Oh! That was so close towards the line. If that's just 1 more second left, he would have made it, but that was super close from Superbug. He'll be absolutely frustrated he can't get that lap in. Oh my goodness, that was so close.
Right, we need this car to get out of the way, because this is currently Wouter on his flying lap, and he's dived out the way last minute. He's given him a good old tour around that, just towards Parabolica. He recognised that quite well out there. It was his teammate who drives through an AlphaTauri that's slain sideways after the last corner, but he finally puts the time, and Wouter can only make a 1:20.044, which puts him in P14, our championship leader. That is not where he would have expected himself to be at the end of practice. Not very good practice for him at all, considering he's invalidated maybe 2 or 3 there at the same point of Ascari. Is there an issue with the setup, or is he, of course, set up for a rainy day, which is what we've heard in the chat might be the case for the it might be the case for the race. Looks like everyone else is done. Jeroen's out on track on our fastest lap as well, but we're just on board with Bumpy currently because he's going to be coming at the pits or going across the line. We shall see. He calls it. He's not happy that he's going to be going any quicker. Jeroen also coming towards the last. He's slowed right down, having given someone a pull, but I don't think he needed to give anyone a pull because they've already finished. Seeb's already done. Yeah. Done. You're on at the pits. Here we go. The start of the race is going to be the Alpha Tauri at the front of the grid. Rudy with another fantastic performance. Jeroen in second. Finds himself only in 6th place in the championship so far, but we know just the power of him from previous seasons, of course, but puts himself P2 today. So that'll be an interesting one. Nathan following with the consistency. Didn't have the race that he would have wanted last time out, but was still good. But yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't in the top 5-6, where I think he's going to probably hope to see himself more and more this season. But good qualifying by him with a 119.5. Super Mug also 119.5 in P4. We have Evans in P5, and then there was some other people underneath. AJ for the Ferrari, Reza 5 for the Aston Martin in 7. Knight, T Griff, Fer gets P10, Seed P11, P's in the McLaren. McLarens are 12th. Where's the other McLaren, actually? We'll just have a little look on the screen there, because that looks like the other McLaren's a bit further down too. Bumpier. Panda in 13th. 14th is Wouter, with his 1 second off the pace there in qualifying. That's very interesting, but again, this could be down to Selps. We shall see what happens in about 23 seconds. DeWill in P16 with a 120.2. Not even a slow time is 120.2 really, but just shows you how fast Rudy can go around there. That is unbelievable. In the only driver on track to go sub 119. Well done him. What a performance. We wait 5 seconds as they come round to start the formation lap here in Monza, in Italy, at the Temple of Speed for race number 4 of Cone Racing League's Tier 1, the top of the pops.
Can't wait to see what happens down at Tail 1, especially in the wet conditions. So hopefully all the drivers make it through cleanly down into T1. So it's going to make out an interesting race. Nathan doing a good job like he did back in Spain, and hopefully he'll have a good result like he did when he finished in P3, but hopefully higher for him, because looks like he's got the pace. He's going to be keeping up with the top runners really well. Look at that, it is heavy rain.
It is rain. It is rain indeed in Italy for the race, so we will see whether it's full rain, if it is rain all the way, because that can make a race very interesting. When there's a little bit of a dive for the rain and it clears up mid-race, that can rattle strategies. But yeah, this could be an interesting one. Who's your fancy today, if you were to be put on the spot?
Well, looking at as it is, if Rudy can stay ahead into turn 1, turn 2, he will win the race. I think it's very hard to overtake around here. Qualifying was crucial in this race. The main story of this race being qualifying as high as you can, because of the rain. It's so difficult to overtake. No DRS, and it's so difficult to get out of the traction as well as we had another car. Just need to be careful. But I think yeah, we're on the formation lap then, as everybody is on the inters, so it's not too heavy.
Sorry, just had to jump off a second. I've had a message saying why no comms for race, but there is comms. Never mind, just heard Jamie. What? Can they not hear me?
I'm watching the stream right now. I think I don't know who said that. Who's saying that?
Sorry. It was Cool Dude Boyd saying if I needed a core comms. I think it was if we weren't sure about your connection, mate. Don't worry. Confusion over. I got really confused by a message that came through there. I was worried that this whole time they'd only been able to hear you and not me. But I presume no one said anything, so I presume they were good. Yeah, can hear both clearly. All good, Dragon. Yeah, can hear both fine, Topher. Yeah, cheers, lads. Proper look after me, them too. Each week, come and watch Tier 1. Superb by them too. Sign them up. Put them on a contract. Although they won't be on as much money as us, will they?
Can't wait to see how it all goes down in Tier 1 number 1, Danny.
Oh, it'll be hell on in the rain, won't it? Cold tyres. Keeping the tyres warm in this outlap is going to be so important. It's going to be frightening that first corner. I would not want to be any car in this race. I hate the rain at the best of times, but on a personal level. But of all the places to have rain is turn 1 here when you're going absolutely flat out. So all it hey, one for the stream was Rudy just doing a 360 on track. I mean, you're not technically supposed to do that, but it is a good way of warming your tyres up in fairness. Whether or not anyone gets a bit offended by that, I'm not too sure. It didn't really affect anyone, but it's not advised. We're not supposed to be doing that. I love it, Topher.
I love how all the drivers have to choose their own spots as well manually. Otherwise, if they get it wrong, they get disqualified. You can see the drivers all over the place as they're trying to line up in their slots. As Ferguson's been disqualified already.
Wow. Well, it's always a tough one to say where to start the race. Every now and again I like to start on board with one of the drivers. Oh, hang on, what's going on? Everyone's gone clear a second. We'll see whether or not there's any loading issues.
We're away.
We're away. Wow,
yeah.
I thought there was supposed to be some loading, but here we go. We've absolutely gone. Just go back to the top and see what is happening at the top of the track. You can see that there's all sorts of action. The Red Bull's trying to go on the inside of your own in the Alfa Romeo. They've gone side by side, but if anything, someone's had to cut the corner. That looked like a Ferrari and a Mercedes. Did you see what happened there?
Someone shot down the inside to turn what it looked like a Mercedes who went down the inside, and unfortunately somebody had to go off the track.
It looked like AJ. It looked like AJ because he's got a penalty for it, and it looks like there's also a contract from Ferg in the Mercedes behind AJ as well. So I don't know whether or not has he got wing damage there, AJ? Let's have a little close look on his car there and see whether or not he has got any damage. You don't want that. That is the last thing you need with such high-paced corners as Knight and Wouter having a battle a little bit further back down the track as well. We'll stay on board. Evans just literally behind Nathan. Let's go back down. Reservoir P's all having good battles on the track. Let's look behind. You can see the McLaren alongside the Mercedes. Flat out corner, how they're going to take it. No contact. I'll tell you what, that's brilliant driving in fairness, but the McLaren's going to take the corner just on the right line to keep more speed through the Scary. What's going to cost them both time ultimately, but we're safe away. No crashes, no safety cars. Can we get to the end of lap 1? There's only one corner left for them all.
Yeah, so I had a look at the start, and Mercedes went down the inside. It was 3 wide. Williams got sent to a half spin. AJ went off the track to avoid them all 3 of them. Went back on the track, got a 5-second time penalty, and unfortunately dropped down into, he's still in P5, but obviously that penalty looming over him. Griff, however, is going to come back at Wouter as he makes his way down the inside, but I think Wouter's late on the brakes, as you can see there, as the inside turned to further back. We've got Knight and Pease. Knight makes contact with Pease.
The T. Griffin Resify also made contact. It was the Aston Martin trying to get down the inside of the Red Bull, and the door just closed for him as he was going around turn 2, the second of the chicane left-hander. And the door was just firmly closed, but he's got ahead of Pease and T. Griff now. Ahead of T. Griff, but as has Pease in the McLaren. I don't know if T. Griff had a bit of a problem there at the start. Oh no, he didn't. I thought that was his wing gone, but it isn't. He's just conceded a couple of places. Pease, did you see that?
Anti-Griff. I was on board with Griff.
Were you really? Yeah, Pease. I was on board with them on the stream cam, and T. Griffin behind. The pair of them losing it just on the first of the Lesmos. They are flat out, to be honest, but they're not completely flat out, but they're quick corners. You can lose so much time there if you get them wrong, and you can get on the accelerator a little bit too fast, especially in the rain, on that right-hander that can make the back end lose it, and you turn towards the wall quite easily. A lot of drivers will have lost it there before. Super Mug only 4/10 behind. We see Bumpy and Seeb, if we want to go back further and see that there's a little bit of action from them. There's 4 that are all miles behind, but it doesn't look like they are on track, so that timer that you can see on the left-hand side of your screen currently is false. It is not correct.
These glitches, and I'm looking at the start again as Knight overtakes to Griff into on the straight as he goes side by side, but I think Knight's late on the brakes as the inside line. Should get this move done if he doesn't outbrake himself yet. Good move there from Knight. He moves himself up into P11 ahead of to Griff. But yeah, look at the start there. Evans was alongside Nathan. He had the outside line to turn 1, but Nathan held his ground down the inside, and unfortunately that contact was made between Evans and Mercedes on the Alfa Romeo, and that Alfa Romeo was probably, I think it was Super Bowl. And what's happened?
I was just looking at literally as soon as I come on with Ferg. I think I killed him off one last week by jumping on stream with him, or is it the week before? But yeah, he was very, very close to the back of AJ, and I think he had to back out a little bit, coming around the same place that T Griffin Peas have just lost their back ends as well. That first right-hander. It is a slippy corner. You can only go around so fast. Footy being recorded. Got my priorities right. Yes, love that. Tough for watching the F1 stream before the footy later on that he's recorded. That is what we like to see. Proper dedication. AJ looks like he's just about to get taken on by Ferg. Is Ferg going to sit in behind and save up some ERS, or is he going to take the move? Because he's spent quite a lot already. Looks on the outside, can break a little bit later, and there's contact between him and AJ. Around Parabolica, still trying to lock wheels a little bit. The pair of them just having a little shot at each other. I think it's touched again. And oh my word, how many times did they have to do that? And AJ even got wow. AJ even got a 5-second time penalty for he crossed into the pits. Oh, the full wing's gone. There is all sorts of problems further down. There is a pit for DeWill. Pyro's DNF'd. AJ looked like he was involved as well. It was has gone into the pit straight away. DeWill coming out the pits. What on earth has gone on back there? It looked like there was several bits of contact between the two drivers on a straight, by the way. And bruh is the only way I could describe it as well. What on earth is that? Safety car is out, as you'd expect, and Rudy's advantage is now slimmed. Jerry Rowan behind them. Nathan can squeeze back up with the race leaders, as can Evans. That is absolutely horrible at the back there. Ferg coming out second best in that little tussle of contacts. I think Ferg had actually got ahead on track with AJ, but there seemed to be so much touching between the pair of them for no apparent reason. They were on a straight. Shouldn't have really been any at that point. They'd had loads of time to straighten the cars out. So a little bit of argy-bargy, and yeah, that's what happens, unfortunately. I don't think anyone was the winner. AJ getting his time penalty, although you would imagine that if he puts it into the stewards, he might have a chance at the time penalty removal, given the... in fact, was it speeding in the pit lane? He might not get it. He might not get it if it's just wing damage, but it depends if he just had to throw himself in the pits and he just has to take the penalty because it was quicker than the time he would have lost with no wing going around this track. Maybe.
I was on board. You was on board with Peas. I was on board with AJ. So we're both.
All right.
I meant you was on board with Ferg. I was on board with AJ. And Ferg actually retired in the pit lane. His car wasn't on the track when he retired. I'm looking. He's facing backwards in the pit lane. So he's actually crashed off the track. But obviously, safety car is still required after the debut on the track. And AJ, unfortunately picked up the 5-second time penalty. Couldn't slow himself down. He was on the grass and lost his front wing. And unfortunately there has to suffer more pain. So yeah, it was a weird one because it all unfolded after Ascari, because AJ had a really terrible entry and exit on Ascari. That's allowed Ferg to close up all over the back. It was a drag race down to Parabolica because Ferg knew it was his big shot of overtaking AJ because it's so difficult to overtake. He knew he had to do it, otherwise he might find himself sitting behind even longer. So he had to do it, and unfortunately both came into contact. And I'm not quite sure what happened because I was on board with AJ, you was on board with Ferg. And did Ferg move to the right a little bit? Oh, it looks like he did.
I'd have to see it again. I'd have to see it again. It was difficult because the angle I had was in the car and I was looking to the side rather than being outside. So I don't know if there was as much contact as I thought that there looked like there was. But it looked like almost the pair of the cars coming together. But unless I was outside the car, I can't see. Topher just confirming for the people in the chat about the penalty that he would have sustained, but because it's been a safety car, it was under safety car, you wouldn't do it. But if that's what's called the safety car, don't know. So we're just on board with everyone anyway. AJ's still in the race. He's had to go in and put his new wing on and has to start at the back of the grid. But it is what it is. Talking about someone that's started quite at the way down the grid is our current league leader, Wouter. He's managed to jump 8 positions from the start of that race and benefited from others getting into a little bit of bother in front of him. So he'll be quite happy in P6 at the moment with only 6 laps of 27 gone. To jump up 8 spots in the first 6 laps is solid, and considering all the cars in front of him now are going to have to squeeze up, means that gap to catch is so much less now. So some of that good work has been paid in dividends now. 2 cars in the pit lane. AJ's gone back into the pits again. What happened there?
try and get rid of his penalty? Can you do that with the safety car? Get rid of the penalty? I'm not quite sure. He's put
No.
on a brand new set of Vinters.
Yeah, it's under yellow.
Why.
You can't under safety car. No, unless he's just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate if he did. I don't think it'd make much of a difference, actually. It might just be a free pit with some fresh tyres again. And he might just be of a mindset of, well, why not? Because I'm still going to catch up. I'm still at the back. So it's just a tyre-less wear. Yeah, would you do it for that tyre-less wear? A lap-less wear?
Also, because he's pushing and the others are slow, he could rejoin to the back of the group, and once the stage car comes in, have fully heated tyres. That's why he's probably going for a pistol. Same with Panda as well, P14.
Yeah, it's not such a bad idea. It might be a good idea. I think that they'll probably catch them way before that, though. Dragon penalties can be served during safety car. Oh, he must have served that. Yeah, sorry. And he must have served the penalty, because it's not there anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a good shout, Dragon. That's a good shout.
Yeah, it isn't there anymore.
I thought it was illegal. I thought it was illegal to do it on the safety car, because it's not really a penalty, is it, if you do it on the safety car?
Yeah, under safety car, then you've... well, I suppose you're still going to have to drop to the back, but it's a drive-through can't. So a drive-through can't be served, but a penalty can.
Oh, yeah, of course. I should know this. Yeah, of course. It's happened to me before. I should know this.
I should as well, but things change that quick and often in this game. Once you get used to one way of it, it sometimes changes. But that might just be a forgotten bit of knowledge, to be honest. Hasn't happened in a while, so it is what it is. So AJ is at the back anyway, and he's catching up to the rest of the field. He's still going to go for another lap anyway, so him and Panda are going to be well up at the back of the field anyway by the time they get back around, so... ain't going to be making any difference. But here we are 7 laps through in Monza. Rudy in the AlphaTauri currently is in the lead, sat behind that safety car. Jeroen in P2 representing Alfa Romeo, and Nathan in P3 as he started. So the top 3 are as they were. I don't know the proper wording, but they are in the same place as the start of the race. Evans 1 up, Supermug 1 down, and Wouter with that hike up the channels, and of course AJ getting into a bit of bother with Ferg, being that Ferg ended up DNFing, and AJ of course having to just dive into the pits and take that penalty, but of course dives back in under the same safety car to take the penalty, and then back out on track having served the penalty without much of it being an actual disadvantage. So gets away with one there. I would say lucky, but obviously he's just span out, hasn't he, and got the back of the field from a P4. So it's lucky's probably not the right word, but at least it's not the end of the race for him. So we jump back on board with the AlphaTauri, who's going to be backing up the field any minute because the safety car is in this lap, and we can reconvene for them coming around Parabolica, turn 11, and start the new lap number 8, and hopefully they can all get the toe down, and we have another turn 1 on our hands coming up as they all sort of squeeze up. They could squeeze up a little bit more, mind, 1 or 2.
Let's see this final corner then. Let's see who gets it wrong, because it's a very important corner to give us a massive straight traction zone as well, and let's see when Rudy decides to pull away. As Captain Chaos saves copies. Look at Giroud, look at Nathan alongside Giroud Vizzer then. As Giroud pulls away, Nathan's in the station. Oh, what's going on? Giroud's just backed out. And here comes all 4 cars right behind Giroud. Giroud's lost 4 positions. And he's lost 2 now because he's taken away from the Alfa Romeo Aston Martin. But he just backed up. I'm not quite sure what happened to Giroud there. And Nathan, going around the outside of Evans, gets a good exit with traction. The Alfa Romeo behind Giroud gets bad traction. He's under pressure from the Aston Martin. And the Williams and Nathan go side by side. Giroud is in the slipstream. Don't make it be wide. Don't want to do that. He has to tuck it behind. Does Giroud don't want to make contact. And look at that. Going around the outside of Williams. That's the inside of this corner. But the Aston Martin, the back off the track. Giroud gets a decent exit now. As the side by side going into the first Lesbo. The Ferrari on the inside of the Alfa Romeo. The second Alfa Romeo. Wouter takes the Alfa Romeo into 5th place. Demotes him down into 6th. And what we saw that was Nathan's up at 2nd, but what happened there to Giroud? He just backed out on the straight and allowed 4 cars to go after him.
Do you know, I think it was something to do with the restart. He was so close to the line, and I'm not sure whether someone might have got past him or he might have got past someone else before the line. You have to wait for the start-finish line in order to overtake after a safety car. Maybe it was something to do with that. See him getting a 3-second time penalty. And it might have made him back off again and give me. But I don't know if it did though, because in Brazil actually someone did it to me and got past me before the start finish line, and I forgot to report it, to be honest. Now I think about it, but they did. They did and got past me. So. Yeah, not sure what's recording or not, what's not. But Evans, I've just had a request to have a little look at the tyres, and you can see them on the left-hand side of your screen. Bumpier having a side-by-side battle with T. Griff and trying to get in behind his teammate in the McLaren, and does so before turn one and gets in front fully before the braking zone, which means that it's actually executed quite safely, and does a good job there and pulls away from the Red Bull of T. Griff. His partner, of course, Nathan in the Red Bull, and has got himself into P2 starting in P3. It's decent. Your own and Nathan swapping positions. A little bit of a confusing run of events there. Yes, as they were coming away from the safety car. I can only imagine that it was something to do with avoiding a penalty, is my guess, as to how that happened, because I can't think of any other reason why that would have happened. And if you leave it too close to the braking zone before you decide you're going to back out, then that's where you can have problems. Pease looking at Resify back this week, puts himself into P7 at the moment. Not too bad after the safety car. Only 9 laps gone. We're not even half. We're nowhere near even. We're only a third through this race so far, which is amazing, isn't it? Considering how it's the safety car, of course. Have we had 2 now, or was it just the one safety car?
Just the one.
Yes, it was this one safety car. We've had a virtual as well, haven't we? I think, or have we not?
No, we haven't.
No, I don't think we have. We're losing the plot.
Look like Giroud then is all over the back of Nathan, trying to retake P2. Rudy's just at the fastest lap of the race. AJ's taking on Steve for P11, but here we go then. Is Giroud's straight line speed good enough? He's trying to overtake Nathan then. Look at the overspeed he has then. As we make our way into Tier 1, is he going to be able to make it on the brakes?
Oh, big lock up.
Double locks up, but still he manages to make the corner. Nathan trying to go around the outside, but Giroud closed that door, and that was a fantastic move for Giroud there. Trusted the brakes, and he broke on the corner as well, blocking the exit for Nathan. So he moves himself back up into P2. Can he reduce that gap between himself and Rudy's got 2.6 seconds to reduce the gap, and AJ has overtaken to Griff, and here comes Steve on the grass. He don't want to be doing that in the wet especially, and he stays behind trying to do a Sebastian Vettel.
That was a brave move. You can get your toe down a little bit too quickly and put him out on the grass, and it looks like he's still struggling for grip a little bit, because it looks like Panda's going to be trying to get past him. Oh sorry, it was DeWill, and did.
Steve put himself on the grass there, and unfortunately has lost another place. He's trying to make up a place, but he just lost a place in the procedure. But Rudy there got a healthy, clean advantage there, not in the slipstream, not providing any slipstream for anybody. And Drew, can he bring that 3-second gap down? He had the pace in the first half of the race, but unfortunately that first safety car, when the safety car was about to come in, it's just cost him a lot, unfortunately. But can he bring that gap down, I wonder?
I think it's worth...
He's gone wide. You see that?
Yeah, big time. There's Nathan caught right up with him in Parabolica. Yes, indeed. Your run did take it a bit wide. That's only one corner we've seen, but in fairness, Rudy, a bit of a shout out to the pace that he must be putting down at the moment, because since that safety car came in, has opened up 3.3 seconds. That's only 2 laps, by the way, because it came in 9, I think. AJ come back on the cards. Great restart for AJ, says a few of the people. Look at the positions 15th to 9th, he managed to get up on that restart, so he's obviously found some pace again. Someone's also in the pits. Pease has gone in the pits. Yeah.
In the wet conditions, you don't have to pit, but I wonder if he sustained any damage, or is that a scheduled pit stop? I'm not quite sure if these inters can go towards the end, but if they can, they will be taking them, because you don't need to make a pit stop. But I was keeping an eye on AJ during the safety car, and he didn't catch the back of the grid until that back straight, because he was trying to slow it. He was trying to curate a gap so he could warm the tyres up, but somebody's gone for a spin, and that is Griff. It
is, and we've just seen Panda go past him as well. That was Panda, Seed and DeWill, I think, all made passes on there. Don't jinx AJ, please, Dragon. Clearly showing his constructor relations there. AJ with a fantastic fight back so far. Let's jump on with Vouter as well. Just to add that little bit of pressure.
He almost lost the car coming out on the sky, but he slammed on the brakes, and thankfully he did make the barriers. So that was a close one there for Griff, but he's definitely struggling.
Easily done. Easily done. Where is AJ? AJ's just gone past Rizvi. Oh yeah, he's in the pits. That's why.
He's making his way past Bob. Yeah. Look at him. He's going side by side with the McLaren driver. Late on the brakes as we head down to Tier 1. AJ Lost the fight in the first half, and now he's coming back in the second half. He's up into P7 with fresher tyres, so can he potentially be on course for a podium with those fresher tyres as AJ?
Yeah, just jumping on with AJ there. He got it away from the turn 2 chicane, the second part of the chicane. He got away from it pretty well, but of course there's a straight after it, so Bumpier managing to tuck himself behind. Bumpier makes a slight little error there. You're just seeing behind AJ there coming through the chicane and had a little bit of a wobble. But yes, AJ in D, P7 with only 6 laps of the inters with everyone else on 11. Does he come in when everyone else comes in? Or does he try and do it all in a one now? Either or. We'll have to keep our eyes open for any safety cars as well, because that can always throw a spanner in the works. And of course the weather to consider every now and again. It doesn't rain for a full session, so it might be that it clears up at some point and they've got to completely rejig the strategy. Bumpier half a second behind AJ, Supermug half a second behind Wouter, Evans nearly a second behind Nathan in third. People boxing with new tyres. Does that mean it's written to the end? Yeah, well, potentially. We can't see that. Topher asking about the new tyres. Does it mean that they might take it to the end? Not sure. Well, they might. We don't know exactly what the weather's going to do. If it's going to stay trickling like this, then yeah, there's no reason why they couldn't get to the end. Although I would have thought that while everyone's packed up like this and there's no one being able to really take, any huge advantage of a tyre, I'd have been tempted to just try and stay alongside. But obviously, AJ may be feeling like he had to do something different considering what's happened to him and dropped his way further back. And he's obviously on the charge. So whether or not he changes them again later on, but either way, he's right in amongst that field again. So when they change, he can change just as easy. He doesn't necessarily need to stay out.
People boxing for new tyres, yes, that does indicate that they'll be ready towards the end, because if it was going to be dry up towards the middle part or the end, they would have stayed out and stuck on this tyre. But yeah, we see P is reservified, doing a scheduled stop on a brand new set of Inter, and I wonder if those guys do the same. Do those guys believe that those set of Inters can go towards the end, 30 lap old set of Inters? So
easy,
we'll
I think so.
I'm not quite sure.
Well, I mean, if it's... Well, what's 13's what? Doubles 26, and there's only 27 laps. So anyone on 12 laps on their first set of inters, they can come in whenever they want, and they'll be able to get to the end easily. For AJ, already on 7 laps, that's a bit different, whether or not he's going to get to the very end of the race. It all depends on pace at the time.
I meant those guys on the inters now, can they take those tyres towards the end, their first set, not make a pit stop?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because we see people like Wouter now in the pit lane, and that tells me that those inters are not going to make it towards the end. That's why people like Wouter, Pease, and Reservoir are boxing for new ones so they can take it towards the end. So
sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I get what you mean now. Yeah, 100%. I think you would have expected them, a lot of them, to have pitted around now. Even AJ, in fairness, might just decide that he'll have the 8 laps on them and then go on to another set of fresh inters, potentially, and just go with the rest of them when they come in and see it out to the end. But I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer, whether or not it's doable without stopping.
Pease just managed to, Walter's just managed to rejoin ahead of Pease. That was crucial for him, and Pease gained a massive advantage. But Walter's tyres will be fresher than Pease now, being 3 laps older, so Pease had those 3 laps to try and reduce the gap to Walter as much as he could. But unfortunately, he couldn't do it, and Walter, now on those fresher tyres, should be able to stay ahead once he gets them warmed up. However, AJ is bringing the gap down towards Superbug. It was 3 seconds at one point, now it's 2.4, so
love that.
Bringing that gap down.
AJ on the absolute march in the rain, so maybe it's just the wet that he enjoys. Some of the drivers do prefer the wetter conditions. They seem to excel in them, whereas others will do anything but to be involved in them. Evans, here we go. He also comes into the pits after 13 laps. Is anybody going to follow the lead? DeWill, he's only on 11 laps so far. He's staying out there. He's happy. Sieb, of course, he's staying out there as well in P10. He's got the time penalty, unfortunately. Who is that? That's Panda and Evans switching. Sorry, that's just people going past Evans in the pits. A lot of positions lost, though. If you do decide to pit at this stage in the race, you want to certainly hope that those in front of you are going to do the same thing.
Could make it an interesting race. AJ lives in Scotland now, so he knows how to drive in the rain.
Yeah, he's right. He doesn't know how to drive in the sun now, AJ, since he's up in the Highlands there. No offence to Scotland, it's a lovely place.
2.1 now towards Supermug, so he's definitely bringing that gap down. I wonder if those top 4 now will respond, because if they don't respond, they're going to be undercutted by the likes of Walter, Pease and Evans. Evans is rejoined down in P13. He was in the top 5, I say train, but as you can see there, Walter has undercutted him, and by about 2 seconds as well, he's ahead of him. So I think those guys, if they are making their pit stops now, they might rejoin behind Walter, but if they stick it out any longer, they'll definitely rejoin behind Walter and Pease, and Evans as well.
Yeah. It's still an interesting one with the front runners, because obviously if they're on inters, they're going to replace them with the same tyre. Maybe they're just trying to keep as much pace as possible so that they can keep the second set to be as fresh as possible. It does look like, as I'm on board with Pease coming down after turn 10 towards Parabolica. Oh, there we go. Nathan, pit. Supermug, pit. Bumpier, pit. They're all going to be coming out on fresh inters. Are they going to be following suit behind? Of course, we're going to see Wouter and probably Pease get past them while these are in the pit. And
love you too, Daniel.
Yes.
Let's have a look then. Where does Nathan rejoin in all this? Look at that, he just rejoins ahead of all 3 of them as they make their way down his turn 1 then. So that was a fantastic time reaction there from Nathan. But can he get a good exit then to keep Walter behind? His tyres might be a bit cooler as Walter's warmed up then. So can Walter use the ERS? No, he can't, because it's very low. And Nathan then just timed it perfectly and it's up into P7 then. So that's a major relief. He's able to rejoin ahead of Walter, Pease and Evans on fresher tyres. And Superbug at P11.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, because the likes of Panda that came in after like 6 laps, DeWill after like 4 laps. So it was, these two, it's whether or not they're going to get theirs to the end and see whether or not they can really try and push them all the way to the end of this lap and keep the pace. Obviously, if you can stay in a train and get a bit of slipstream, then it can help a lot. If there's, there we go, Steve has just lost it coming out of Ascari. We were on stream with him at the time. The left-hander just touched the curb by the looks, and that was Steve completely lost it and put it into the wall on the left-hand side, and that is going to be a safety car. And of all the times, Jeroen and Rudy are going to be very, very thankful for that, because I imagine they'll come in and just get some fresh inters now to see out the rest of this race and won't have to cost themselves a position as a result. Jeroen, AJ and DeWill also all jumping in. AJ coming for those fresh set as we talked about, and that is the safety car that of course AJ will have been more than happy to see, because that means that it's not going to cost him any positions. Nathan decides to stay out because he has only done 1 lap. Yeah, sorry, that's an obvious choice, as is Wouter. As is Pease and 6 laps. Evans, there we go. Look at the whole pack now. Panda in there as well. Everyone coming in, apart from Rudy, that we can see is out and out ahead of everybody else. 26 seconds worth. Is he going to be able to keep himself underneath that delta? Will they still have a delta? I'm not too sure if they do or they don't at this point. But normally you would have a delta to keep under. It doesn't look like it, actually. He's pushing quite hard. So I think everyone's past the start-finish line now, and he's going to be making his way towards that safety car. Can he get his car in and out the pits in 26 seconds? Indigo.
He will do. Don't worry about it. So Rudy, he was very lucky at the time in the safety car. If he crossed the line as soon as the safety car came out, and he had to bolt it down the finish straight before the safety car appeared, otherwise I had to stay behind the safety car while the guys behind able to make their pit stops, and then Rudy out there on the 16-lap old tyres. But yes, he's in the pit lane now, so I think he's upset quite a few people, and it's also benefited his teammate Rudy in P1 there. I dare say Nathan would have overtaken Giroux because he was so close to him, but obviously he had to respect the delta, and he stays in P3 on that 1 lap order tyre. So it's benefited Giroux, it's benefited Rudy, and he should be able to stay in first place and catch up.
We'll soon see, because Jeroen's just coming round now. We can just see that he's just about to leave. There's not going to be much in this. There's not as much as you'd think, By the time he gets out of that pit, he's going to have to get up to speed quick, and you can see him above that. No, there's a lot more than you think. You can just see them. I was on board with Jeroen. He is, a good few hundred yards away still before he got out of the pits. I was just looking at the map on the right-hand side. It gives you a little bit of a false sense of distance. But yeah, Rudy, as you said, was nice and comfortably in and out in about 22 seconds-ish, leaving about 4 ahead when he left the pits.
So when I had a look at Rudy when Steve crashed, and he was staying at 1 lap extra. Jeroen was making a scheduled pit stop, and Rudy would stay 1 more lap extra while those guys warm their tyres up. And luckily for Rudy, the safety car came out.
Yeah. Yeah, so now, I mean, yeah, Rudy has now literally got the freshest tyres on track, and we've got 11 laps to go, which means that the tyres are going to comfortably go. Pretty much you can just attack it. You don't really need a tyre save much with that this many laps left, because they'll probably quite easily go the distance.
AJ as well. AJ rejoins Dan and Pierce, so he has lost out. I wonder, without the safety car, what the scenario would be if the safety car didn't come out. Those guys would have stayed. AJ would have stayed out. I think AJ would have tried to take those tyres towards the end, while those guys would try and catch up to him and overtake him on the track, because he pit on the first safety car and had that advantage. So it's definitely cost AJ.
I mean, credit where it's due, though. He dropped to 15th in all of that mess, and he managed to push himself forward a little bit through the traffic. But yeah, the advantage of the fresh tyres obviously came to an end quicker than we would have expected, or certainly he would have wanted for his stint there. So I think he knew he was catching people, had a better tyre, and looked pretty good. But yeah, that's how quickly a safety car can change a race. Again, we're seeing that quite a lot. The safety cars really making huge says, or having a huge say in the outcome of races, depending on when they land. I know that myself and Mazzles had to make a change due to a safety car, and it sort of was the difference between us being able to challenge for the win in the race in the end, just because of the strategy that we'd both tried to gamble with, and that's how easy it can change with a single safety car. But yeah, the pack bunches together another time, 19 laps through.
Yeah, it could be interesting towards the end. So can Rudy try and get the restart he wanted on the second time this time? Is Giroud able to stay ahead, learning from his mistakes on that safety car line? I'm not quite sure if he did have a delta or not, or had to give the place towards Nathan for whatever reason, but hopefully he doesn't do that this time, and hopefully we can have a good race towards the end. It's helped Giroud because he had a massive gap over Rudy after that first safety car, about 2.93 seconds, and now he's pulled that deficit all the way down. So Rudy's lead has been wiped out yet again, and you have to make it back up. This time, we'll watch out for Chivoon. And yeah, it's been an interesting one towards there. Can't wait to see. As P's in P5, it'll be the older tyres of all of them.
Yeah, the REL representatives, Ferg, Recify, Evans, Pease, higher up, Evans, Pease, Wouter and Euron, all in the top six, or four of them in the top six. Nathan keeps his original position in was P3. We'll just jump off the tyres for a second. We'll go back to the position changes. Wouter, of course, up 10. Pease is the second highest jumper from P12 all the way to P5. So he's going well as well. We can see that De Wil's done well from his starting position in the race to climb a few positions also with Bumpier in the McLaren. So we'll see if they can better them even more so now that they've got fresh tyres, and all going to be battling it out from an even keel again for the final 7 races of Monza. A wet Monza.
Let's have a look at the safety car restart. AlphaTauri leading like in 2008 from Sebastian Vettel Toro Rosso. But here we go then. Rudy is off and away, and Giroud is in the station. Look at the Ferrari alongside Nathan. So Nathan there got caught up in a bit, but as Giroud has the overspeed to try and overtake Rudy down into turn number 1. Nathan's defending as much as he can. Giroud's late on the brakes, but not able to go down the inside. And look at Nathan then defending from Walter. Outbroke himself a little bit. The Williams defending from the Alfa Romeo. Nathan gets a decent exit, keeping Walter behind. But look at that exciting exit. Lost traction a little bit coming out on turn number 2. Walter is able to get alongside Nathan now as they make their way through Curb Grande. As we make our way into the Delaware chicane, look at Nathan's straight line speed. It's much better in comparison to Walter. He's able to stay in P3. These two had a phenomenal battle back in the Spanish GP, and this time Nathan is able to stay ahead of Walter. Harvey racing there after he lost traction a little bit going out of turn number 2, but this time stays ahead.
Yeah, incredible racing there. I was glad to just sit back and watch it and hear you commentate on that racing. Was fantastic. So Nathan still managing to keep that 4th spot, doing well. Wouter, Pease and Evans, though, are not going to be giving him a second to think about it. Well, look at the 6-7 cars behind him all pushing on. So no space for error here, as you can see. Just opens up that ERS to make sure that no one tries any dives down that final strip before Parabolica. Or second final straight, I guess it's straight up to the start-finish line.
But Giroud straight line speed overtaking Nathan on the first stage car restart. I thought it had him going down to turn 1, but Rudy just had the edge there, and he sets the fastest lap yet again ahead of Giroud Vizza. So he's led all this race, has Rudy, but now he's got to work with his hands with Giroud in his slipstream.
DC with a comment that my voice is very comforting. By all means, DC, if you're ever struggling to sleep, give me a call and I'll nurse your ears to Eddie Vise. I'll just whisper sweet nothings in your ear all night. Whether you can't sleep or not, actually, just let me know. Right,
let's look at AJ.
We'll get away from the romance and we'll jump up to AJ. Still managing to keep P3. If we look behind him, he's getting a bit of a gap actually to Wouter. Over a second now. Hey, yeah, boy.
Look at AJ. I think Evans is struggling just a little bit there. Superbug and AJ is all over the back of him, followed by Reservoir. So can Evans get up to speed? It looks he's got a decent extra coming out of the second Lesbo already. So looks like Evans is trying to get up to speed. And Relentless Knight has overtaken Bumpier in an unusual place. So must have been side by side to the first and second Lesbo. But I think Bumpier is coming back on Knight as they go side by side. Which one of them is going to back out? And they're both daring to go side by side, but Bumpier has the outside line, and it was inevitable that he was going to go off the track there because Knight was going to shoot back down the inside. Yeah. And I thought Sigurd would have a go at Bumpier, but he made a mistake himself. And it's allowed Panda to close up at the back of him. So plenty of battles going on the circuit there. It's nice to see places overtaken in unusual places.
Yeah, these four all within a second of each other further up the track there, further back on the track there, so some great racing. It looks like, whoa, oh no, T. Griff wobbled out of the final corner, completely lost the back end, just had a complete wobble, and Panda couldn't have done a thing. T. Griff just came right in the middle of his line, slammed the brakes on. I think he was trying to keep out of his way, and Panda just went absolutely ploughing in the back of him. Panda's wing absolutely burst into smithereens. He lost his complete front nose, and that was him. He just dived himself into the pits, but that is a huge contact at the back and so costly for the pair of them. Bad news. There is no safety car though. It didn't draw a safety car, which is the saving grace of that little incident there. Jeroen only half a second behind Rudy after Rudy getting such a good a getaway after the safety car.
Yeah, indeed, and Drew straight that speed. I honestly thought he could get into turn one like he did on Nathan on the last previous safety car, but Rudy just had the edge there, both late on the brakes to allow to keep Drew behind him. And Nathan then 2.4 seconds after their little battle with Wouter, is he able to keep him behind him? He's 1.3 behind anyway, he's under pressure from Pease, so looks like Nathan's found a rhythm, is able to pull away from Wouter after a hard, intense moment there going into turn 1 and turn number 2 with Nathan and Wouter, but Pease can be able to go to P4 and try and overtake the Ferrari man, who started down in P14, you said? Yeah, it's P14, so regardless what happens, it's a good recovery drive from Wouter.
Superb.
Look at him.
It's going to be great.
Look at Superbug, it's going to go down the inside on Evans, it's turn number 1. Evans has the outside line, has the inside line, but is able to get a good exit. They both have an even exit, but I thought Superbug would have him into turn number 1, but Evans was able to keep it around the outside. But he's coming back for the second time. Look at the overspeed that Superbug has on Evans then. And let's see who's late on the brakes as we head on to the Sheikh chicane. It's the Williams driver. Is he able to make it though stick? Yes, he is. Evans then stays ahead for the time being. But Superbug able to get a better exit? Yes, he is then. As we come into the first lap, down the inside goes Superbug. Is he going to squeeze him off the track? Yes, he is. He's off the track. And he's onto the gravel. Look at the Ferrari. AJ going through on Superbug. And he's going to go down the inside. No, he's not. Because Superbug has the outside line and gets a better exit. So, I don't know who's to blame on that one, but Evans definitely got squeezed out.
Yeah, it didn't look like Evans could have really done much about that. I don't think it was his cornering. He got a couple of bumps, and because it's fast and in the rain, it's sometimes the bump can be too hard to do much about. You can't really, try and turn it too much. You'll just get understeer anyway, and maybe even lose the corner from grip. So, he could. I don't think he could have done much, unfortunately, where he was putting the pace down to do much about it. So he's pushed off track and it's cost him a couple of positions. I imagine Evans might have something to say about that, but he has got a good exit and has a chance to get back up towards Reservoir. We can see some weaving further up from, I believe, Supermug with AJ behind him as well, and Reservoir behind them, just opting to stay straight basically rather than weaving around. AJ and Supermug side by side. You can see the pair of them lock up going towards turn 1, but AJ manages to keep himself in front. And the Ferrari beats the Alfa Romeo on this occasion. AJ looking like he's pulling away quite sharply there, but he has got a couple of seconds to make up to Pease, and he's only got 3 laps to do it. Pease is only 3/10 behind Wouter now. He's given a little bit of a look. Can he get himself on the podium today? Currently in P5. No cars on track has any penalties. As I say that, in fact, I'm wrong, because Knight does. Unfortunately for him in P11. But the rest of the track pretty decent. No errors just yet. Rudy, of course, still has the youngest tyres out there for anybody in the on track, just about, apart from Panda. So he's in one hell of a strong position, managing to stay 1.3 seconds in front of Euron in second. Nathan, I think he's dropped even further behind the front too, so you can tell even with a lap difference in the tyres, it's enough for him to be losing a little bit of time on them. Wouter inside a second, but of course with the ring falling down, there's not any DRS to get. And it looks like it's going to be a full race full of just this dripping wet weather. It hasn't got any worse and it hasn't got any better, I would say, from the start of the race. It just looks exactly the same as it was when we started the race. So it's been pretty consistent weather. I think that's a bit better to drive in, because it's up and down like a yo-yo. It can mess with the strategy a lot, or if it goes heavy and you still try and risk it with the intermediates, you can get caught out pretty easily. Still on board with Wouter and see him lock up that front right going into turn one.
I love how late you can go on the brakes in the wet conditions, because these drivers are braking super late and they're still making the corner. If you had ABS on, you wouldn't be able to do that, because locking up is better in the wet conditions, as you're able to slow the car down, trail brake and slow the car down as much, and brake late as much as you want.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that a few of them are opting for that strategy. And of course, when you're defending in turn one, if you brake early, someone is literally just going to brake later than you and do that exact same strategy, to brake as late as humanly possible, just to get the car ahead. And then, of course, it doesn't matter how slow they are towards turn two, the second part of the chicane, because, of course, if you're behind, you're going as fast as them. You haven't got a choice, have you? Not getting past. So it's all about, who can get in front come turn one and have the best angle, which we've seen so far, I think, is the inside of the turn rather than the outside. Wouter going a little bit wide on the exit for Ascari.
So Superbug, second time in a row, he's almost lost the car. Had a massive oversteering moment coming out of Ascari. So that's twice he's done that. He's cost himself a little bit of time towards himself and AJ. As you can see, he's definitely pushing to try and regain 6th place. He's able to stick. You can see them, little oversteering moment there from Superbug. Got to be careful, because Resify and Evans are right behind him. Evans looking for revenge on Superbug, trying to regain those places back, but Evans is stuck behind Resify.
Yeah, AJ as well, I think, has kept hold of quite a bit of ZRS with a couple of laps to go. So if any of Supermug and Resify behind him, who have used up pretty much all of theirs, tried to make a go of him, I think he's probably keeping that back for that opening straight, isn't he? Which is the right decision. So AJ probably at this point more defending in 6th than pushing to try and get anything else. There's only 2 laps to go with a second and a half to P's. Unless there's any mistakes made in front of him, I don't think he'll get past any of them. But it's still all to play for with Wouter to see if he can get himself on the podium. Nathan has to do a good defending job. I remember the other race when he was in the lead for so long, defending away as well. So he's got to do it again now. Can he keep himself on the podium? But certainly some good driving from Nathan so far this season, showing that he can mix it with the very, very fastest in the league, bar none.
I'm just waiting for that first win from Nathan. I can't wait to see when it happens, but almost got a win in the Spanish Grand Prix. He just underestimated the ERS he had against other people, because he thought he had less than others, but actually he had the most ERS out of all of them. This time he needs to obliterate it on the straight on the last lap, doesn't he?
Yeah, we're just about to see whether or not he's done enough to keep it out of Wouter as they go on to the final lap of race number 1. That's Rudy just going over the line. We're going to jump. Rudy, in fairness, has built up nearly 2 seconds to Euron again, sat in second. Nathan has still got 46% of his ERS. You want to probably use quite a bit of that now since it's final lap. Try and do what you can to pull away from Wouter. But Wouter with only 8%, that tells me that Nathan's just been clever here and thinking, right, as long as I've got that in abundance, he won't pass. So maybe it's a good bit of driving, really. He's not pushing anymore, is he? Did have a little loose at the back end there, getting up to speed, but Wouter himself out of turn 2 didn't have the best. Wouter just bleeding every little bit of VRS, so I think this is how it's going to finish. 1, 2, 3, bar any little changes or little errors. Anywhere else things are going on. Evans, he's only half a second coming up towards Resify in P8. You can see there's still a little train between them. Is there more to come from these on track? Let's jump back on board with Rudy and see the Alpha Tauri finish this race. Still with the freshest laps. A good bit of strategy from him. We saw him come out of the pits ahead of the pack, of course. Me thinking it was going to be close and it being absolutely nowhere near. He was well easy out of the pits, wasn't he? So and he's with the freshest laps, freshest tyres. He was always fancy to go on and win this race, but you still have to do it. And it's not easy driving in the rain. But these two at the front have certainly built up a good bit of bit of pace on the rest of the field. They've managed to pull away 3 seconds to Nathan with one hell of a drive in third position. So there you go. Rudy passes the line. It's P1. Jeroen passes the line. P3. Nathan behind is going to get his podium and stay in P3 with Wouter only 7 seconds behind for P4. Peace we see. AJ we see. Super Mug. Them all just passing around. Resify. Evans. Someone did that. Did they do that before? No, they didn't do that before the line. It's just people messing about as they come over. Evans slamming into the wall. Bumpier is going to be the last of the point scorers. Or is he? Is T. Griff going to have a chance? No, he isn't. Not before the line. He isn't. T. Griff been involved in some good racing, so I bet it's a bit unfortunate for him to be that far back. But of course, he got into the contact as well, losing it in the final corner, and of course, that's what took someone out, didn't it? Someone had one hell of a hit from that. Was that AJ that went into it? I can't remember now. When he lost it at the end. But yeah, we just see Panda finish up in P14 to finish us off. So Rudy, Jeroen, Nathan, Wouter, Pease, AJ, Super Mugrezify, Evans, De Will, Knight, Bumpier, T-Griff and Panda passes the line.
So in the championship, I've already figured this out. Do you get point for fastest lap as well? You do in the top
yes, you do.
Point for fastest lap. So Rudy should be 7 points behind Wouter now. Wouter drives the day from P14, deserved it. And so Wouter's championship has took a dent and it's allowed Rudy to be 7 points behind him. And also Rudy's been a bit of trouble as well this season with the Spanish Grand Prix when he came into contact with Robbie. So what could it have been for him to close that gap or potentially lead the championship? But he's been dominant this race. He fully deserves the victory, does Rudy. And hopefully he can keep the score to have a good championship fight between himself and Wouter and whoever could close in. And P's in P3. Nathan should be, he's 26 points behind. P's finished in P5, so P's will still be in P3 in the championship with Nathan in P4.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's definitely worth watching there that Rudy's gone and won it, starting grid 1, P1, Jeroen grid 2, P2, Nathan grid 3, P3. All three of them keeping the exact same positions and Rudy gone and getting a fastest lap. Really is impressive driving. Of course, Wouter, race championship leader, not having the quality today at all that he would have wanted, having some problems where did he keep doing it? It was Ascari, wasn't it? It was the first turn left into Ascari, wasn't it? So he kept on having bother, just cutting the corner a little bit too much to get too much pace, and unfortunately he didn't qualify very well. Only 14th in the end, which is obviously not his to his standards. Same with Peas really, but the pair of them have got themselves into P4, P5. AJ in P6, Super Mug follows in P7. Resify it was 8th with his teammate De Will in 10th, starting on P16. A little bit of a better outcome for De Will today. He's had a couple of poorer results by his standards, but did well and got a good result today. Knight in 11th, Bumpier, T-Griff, and so forth. Can you invite the 1, 2, 3 into the chat? We've got Rudy, Jeroen and Nathan.
Yeah, TV's about to turn up, so let me get my remote. Yeah, I'm going to do it now.
No worries.
So let me invite these drivers and we'll get going.
Cool.
Let's have a look. There we are. So it was Nathan, Rudy and Jeroen.
Yeah.
COL Nathan. That's Jeroen. And one more, cheers, Rudy. What's his first name?
Who's that?
Letters? TF Rudy, TF, yeah.
TF, yeah, sorry, TF _ Rudy. So there we have it. That was the first race for people still watching the race. Temple of Speed, Monza in Italy for race number 4. We're just waiting to get the drivers in now.
I've created 3 different pods. I'm not quite sure how I've done that. Wait, let me try it. I'm not quite sure how this... Let me do it again. Sorry about this.
That's alright.
On the other occasion, I keep doing that. I don't know how.
It just said Nathan was added to the group.
COO Nathan.
Yeah, thanks to Cool Blue Boy as well, Jonathan. He offered to step in at one point because I think that he wasn't sure if you were making it. So, thank you for the offer anyway. I would have obviously messaged to say yes, but thankfully you made it. He's back, and have they joined the chat? I can hear one. Here we go. Here's one of them joined.
Let me start with Nathan first because I'm going to go to bed after this.
Yeah, of course.
All right, Nathan, mate. So. Congratulations on P3, the first safety car. Can you tell us through that? What happened there? Because Javuviza backed out and you shot straight past. So was it a glitch for Javuviza?
Hello. Well, we were just speaking to Pi actually, and he was telling me that he had an illegal overtake because I accidentally overtook him because I thought Rudy had gone. So I overtook him like slightly, and he got an illegal overtake when I gave him the position back. And then as I was in the slipstream on the straight, he lifted, and I hit the back of him. So it was a bit messy at that part, but yeah, I had such a good run, like going into on the straight.
Ah, that's a shame, mate. Unfortunate. But did you sustain any full wind damage?
No damage.
Second safety car restart. I think Walter almost got you again, and talk us through that battle with you and Walter. How did it feel?
Oh yeah, yeah. He had such a good restart. I went again, and I thought Rudy had gone, but then he slowed down again. One of them might be report worthy. I don't know. The safety car restarts were a bit strange.
Yeah.
And then me and Walter were side by side through turn 1 and 2. So.
One of the safety car restarts, I noticed I even thought it looked like he'd gone, and so I think everyone put their foot down and then he slowed it back up and weaved a couple of times before he'd gone again. So I think that was a little bit I think that's what you mean by that confusion, because there was a few cars that bunched up as a result of thinking that he'd gone, but thankfully there wasn't too much damage.
The first one was probably more dangerous than the second one.
Yeah. The second one I think everyone would get away.
You would go for the undercut on that safety car one. It was before the second safety car restart, because you rejoined ahead of that pack that was oncoming. I think that was P's.
Valter,
you know what I'm talking about.
Josh.
Yeah. Those
To be fair,
three drivers. How did you feel rejoining in front of all three of them?
It wasn't an undercut because the first two, like, I honestly, like, I've never had the mindset of challenging for second and first. They were just gone on both stints, so I was literally just looking for the overcut on Josh. So when he pitted, he was telling me that Valter's completely undercut him by like a second or two. So I was getting really worried. So I pitted thinking I was going to be behind them, but I somehow overcut them. So that kind of helped me a lot because of their straight line speed. I needed to be ahead of them.
Yeah. Understandable. Well, that's me done. Thank you, Danny, for inviting me back to the race, and congratulations, Nathan, Javoon, and Rudy. You there? Yeah, he is there. Congratulations on the win, Rudy. Congratulations to all three of you. Thank you, Danny. I'll see you all later. Have a good night.
All right, cheers, mate. Thanks. Right, so obviously he's gone now, so just move on. Thanks, Nathan. Oh, finally, Nathan, just how you've got Suzuka, I think it is, for race 5 next week. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, not sure. I think it's a wheel track, so probably should do okay, but in the past it's not really been a strong track, so we'll see.
Okay. Right, thank you, Nathan. He was P3 today. We'll move on to Jeroen, who's in P2. Jeroen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Right. Good race, or good outcome for the race tonight. How do you feel it went for you? And obviously there was safety cars that split up the race a little bit. How did it mess up with your strategy?
To be fair, strategy was to just do no stop.
Okay.
Yeah, the safety car gave me 3 pit stops, so I took that. For the rest, it was quite a boring race, just chilling.
Yeah, I think you front 3, stayed front 3, so you qualified 1, 2, 3, finished the race 1, 2, 3, and I don't think that, albeit that the safety cars probably just gave you the free pit stops, as you say, I don't think you got involved in too much. Thankfully for you, managed to stay out of the way, but there was quite a few incidents behind you, as you can imagine, in the rain around there. So but thankfully you stayed out of the way. Did you feel like a zero stop was you still had the pace to finish the race on a non-stop?
Yeah, for sure. Like the people who stop, you lose like 20 seconds. I was gonna make it like I was calculating during the stint. I was gonna make it to like 80% maximum. So it will be like 5% threat of puncture, but probably I could have saved more tires in the end with them pitting.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, the safety, the laps coming on. The safety cars coming out probably helped the keep a little bit of the tyre deck. But yeah, but a P2, not too bad. Obviously, you're in 6th in the championship at the moment on 26 points, but that P2 is going to bump you up a little bit. You'll have gone in ahead of AJ today, but not Nathan, who is the one above. He's on 34 points, but of course he only finished one down on the podium. So again, for yourself, Japan next week, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good track. On this game, the track's really enjoyable, so it should be a good race. I already had a race there, so
good. So enjoyable because you're fast.
Prepared.
Enjoyable because you're fast then.
Good pace. Not the best, but I just had good pace. So I'll practice a bit more, and then it should be sorted.
Yeah, just like tonight, turn 1 is always an interesting one at Suzuka as well. It's so fast. You just have to hope that everyone takes it the same as you do. So good luck next week. Good look forward to seeing you then. And finally, P1 Rudy, our race winner. I imagine the chat's going to be pretty similar to Euro, and in that you had a job to do to just stay out in the front and push forward, and executed that on the night.
Yeah, it was a pretty boring race, but yeah, perfect race for me. Yeah, the start was really good as well. That was probably the scariest part of the race, and then the safety car came out. I already saw that I had a little bit more pace than the cars behind, and then the safety car came out, and I had a really good restart, but that wasn't even intentional because I was trying to get the throttle down, but the game was just holding me back. So I was bunching everyone up, and then I went, but like I couldn't do anything. But in the end, it gave me a good restart. So that really helped, and I kept Jerome because he was the fastest.
I think.
Behind. And from there on, I was saving the tires to go for the stop, but then the safety car came out. So
the safety car landed at a pretty good time in the end. Actually, I think everybody obviously saw that and dived in at the same time. It looked like AJ was catching everyone at one point because he had the freshest tyres and seemed to be flying up the track at that point, and then it just killed him off a little bit when that came out. Is it just a question, Rudy? Did you go with a wet setup then to qualify, or did you qualify in just your usual quicker setup for the dry?
It was just a dry setup. I sweated this track a lot, so I knew the pace for Paul was going to be there, and the lap was actually pretty terrible on itself. Like there was way more time in there, but in the end it didn't matter. And I thought a lot of guys behind were trying to go for dry setup or for wet setups because the quali pace wasn't that fast. I'm not sure if Nathan or anything was running a wet setup, but I wasn't. I was just on a dry one, and in the end, perfect race, Grand Slam. So
another good outcome. And obviously, in an AlphaTauri, I'm all for it. Very well done to the race winner tonight is Rudy. Well done to Euron in second position and Nathan in third with another good performance, getting himself on the podium. So next week we are back for Suzuka in Japan for race number 5. Back next week. So thanks all for joining in and having a chat with me post race, and we'll see all of the drivers next week. Thank you everyone, and we'll see you next Thursday evening for race number 5. Thanks very much.